All right, so AI is going crazy. We see everybody talking about AI, but we've obviously talked a lot about the hype cycle with AI here. But this is a change that actually really will change the way we're using AI, right? So I've talked a lot about what it means to have AI, how we're not going to hit AGI and all that. But this is the Model Context Protocol, or MCP, and this is changing the way that we interact with these LLMs that we're using. So think about what APIs did for web development in the early 2000s. MCP is going to do the exact same thing for AI systems, solving the massive integration headache that's currently holding back truly useful AI applications. So if you're tired of AI systems that can talk a big game but can't actually connect to your systems or can access data real time, MCP is about to change this. So while everyone else is obsessing over the latest model with a few more IQ points, the really huge leap forward is happening in how these models connect to the real world. And that's what we're going to dive into today. So let's get started. Welcome to Startup Pack. I'm Spencer Thompson. Here at Startup Pack, we love train software developers in our licensed coding boot camps, as well as build custom software solutions for companies. With a decade of executive leadership as a fractional CTO and 25 years in software development, I've mastered transforming tech teams and products. All right, so let's break down what's really happening with AI tools right now. We've got these incredibly smart models that are basically trapped inside of a box, unable to access your systems, your data, or your database, or your tools without custom integration code for every single connection. Now, MCP, which stands for Model Context Protocol, is a new open standard created by Anthropic that acts as a universal connector between AI models and all the systems that they need to talk to. So it's like a USB port for artificial intelligence. Now, I've spent a long time looking at new tech starts, and this is one of the things that I think has the markers of something that's really going to go huge, right? Because if you're building AI tools right now and not paying attention to ACP, you're going to wake up 6 months from now and wonder why everyone's tools suddenly got 10 times more capable than yours. So let's talk a little bit about the big problems that MCP solves here, right? So move my head out of the way here. So what we've got here is we've got the general architecture. So you can see that a host with an MCP client, right? So think of like Claude, because this is Claude's Claude is the one who's really driving this charge here. So Claude, IDE, tools, etc. So the host comes in, and this is where you might send in a chat request or something like that. This goes to the Model Context Protocol, which will go to server A, could go to a database, can do all these things. But this host is then driving back through these MCPs and allowing it, even like a web API, to go out to a remote service, right? So if you want to go read a browser, or if you want to have something that's going to integrate with data from a database, this is a new open protocol that Anthropic is publishing and that everybody's getting on board with. So this will allow us to get into where you can see there's for servers and for other things. This is their their Model Context Protocol documentation here for them to start building into this. So this is going to be a big shift because we're going to start to see more and more things be connected to LLMs, which are going to make them more useful, right? So every AI company right now is struggling with the same integration nightmare. How do you get these language models to actually connect to real business systems, data, and tools? So what engineers calls M times N problems, right? Meaning that the connecting M to different AI models to N different data sources requires M times N separation integration. So it's a nightmare that grows exponentially as you add more systems. Well, MCP transformed this into a simple M plus N equation where each model and data source only needs one connector to the protocol, and then they can talk to each other seamlessly. So I've learned that the standards that win are the ones that solve real pain points. And integration complexity is the number one obstacle holding companies back. So if your company is struggling to get your systems connected, make sure you reach out to us, because here at Startup Pack, our specialty is connecting systems so that your company can work like a well-oiled machine. So just like how APIs revolutionized the web development by creating standards like REST for systems to talk to each other, MCP is going to do the same thing for AI. And it's going to unlock a whole new generation of AI tools that can actually do things instead of just chatting. And I think this is where we're going to start to see things really start to accelerate and accelerate into the business, right? So the Model Context Protocol works through a straightforward client-server architecture where the AI assistant is the client and your data sources or tools run MCP servers that expose their functionality. So Anthropic describes MCP as a USB-C for all AI. So just like a USB standard, how devices connect, MCP standardizes how AI systems will connect. So the beauty of MCP is its simplicity. It defines just three primary things: resources, and that's data that can be accessed; tools, an action that can be performed; and prompts, templates for interaction. So instead of your AI getting direct access to your systems, which would be a security nightmare, the MCP server acts as a secure gateway controlling exactly what the AI can and can't do. Now, the protocol itself runs on JSON RPC2, so it's running in a JSON format to pass the messages back and forth, which makes it really easy to stream that data and also to be human readable. So what impressed me about this when I dug into MCP was how lightweight it was. We're not talking about some massive complex framework, but a clean, simple, minimal JSON transfer that's just got some good standards built around it. So despite being released just a few months ago by Anthropic, the MCP ecosystem is already growing at a really fast pace, which shows how much interest and how much this is solving. There's now over 250 community-built MCP servers connecting to everything from GitHub and Google Drive to SQL databases and 3D modeling. So I've been tracking open source movement for decades, and the speed of MCP adoption reminds me of how fast Docker took off, right? Startup companies are jumping on MCP because it lets them connect their AI to a vast range of tools without investing millions in custom integration code. So platforms like Cursor, Zed, Replit, and Codium have already integrated MCP, enabling their AI assistants to access and manipulate code repositories in ways that weren't possible before. The GitHub repository for MPC servers looks like a developer's dream catalog. So with tools like Claude Desktop, developers can now test their MCP servers locally, making the development experience smooth and productive. Now, the fundamental shift MCP enables is moving from passive AI, which is models that just respond to prompts, to active AI, which are systems that can access real-time information and take action in the world. So I've learned that systems that can only talk but not act are really a limited utility. And so far, what we've seen with a lot of the LLMs is just a neat party trick to just be able to do chat like it's talking to a human, right? But getting started with MCP is surprisingly straightforward. Anthropic provides an SDK, which we're going to be working on some code samples here for you. Provides SDKs for both TypeScript and Python that handle all the protocol details. And it lets you focus on actually doing the integration. Now, for teams just getting started, I'd recommend checking out some existing servers on GitHub to see how they're structured. They're excellent templates for practically every type of system you might want to connect to. Now, before MCP, AI developers were typically using approaches like RAG, which is retrieval augmented generation, and using those functions or custom plugins, all with significant limitations compared to what MCP enables. RAG is fantastic for querying static document collection, but it can't perform actions or access dynamic real-time data the way the MCP can. Now, what are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'd love to have a great discussion. Here at Startup Hack, we love to train software developers in our licensed coding boot camps, as well as build custom software solutions for companies. So check out startuphack.com/Spencer if your company is looking for some help or some consulting, and we'd love to help you out. And here's some great information about our coding boot camps.
Want to become a software developer but don't want to spend 4 years in college and rack up massive student loan debts? Think you need technical expertise to get started? Welcome to Startup Hack, a better way to start your software career without student loans and years without income. One-on-one tutoring is included so you never get stuck and have guidance through the whole process. No technical experience is necessary. Learn at your own pace and in your own space. Startup Hack has worked with local state agencies in your area to make it so that qualifying students can get the program costs covered entirely and students can start earning while they learn.
Startup Hack's .NET Coding Bootcamp was a game changer for my career. As someone with no prior programming experience, I was initially intimidated by the idea of learning to code, but the instructors at Startup Hack broke down complex concepts into easy to understand lessons and provided hands-on projects that really cemented my understanding. The curriculum was comprehensive and up to date and got me ready for my first job. What really set Startup Hack apart was the focus on practical, real-world skills. Thanks to Startup Hack, I landed my dream job as a .NET developer within weeks of graduating. I went from knowing nothing about code to building professional-grade web applications in just a few intense months. If you're looking to break into .NET development or level up your coding skills, I cannot recommend Startup Hack enough.
Complete our 3-month coding bootcamp, gain hands-on experience, and land a paid internship. With 2 years of experience on average, our graduates are making over $80,000 per year. The 3-month program includes technologies from Microsoft, Google, and Facebook. No debt, just a quick path to earning. Check out startuphack.com to code your future and start today.